Back to Gav Goes In. Guys, apologies for being slightly a bit late. Do you know what? Today's been one of them days. One of them days where, it just seems like this day's gone on forever. I think at one point I didn't think I'll be able to do this stream because I've just been rushing around like crazy, man. Boy, where do I start? So let me just see this quickly. So Tottenham activate. Oh my. Tottenham activate release clause in Gibbs White's contract. So Tottenham getting Gibbs White and Kudus. Do you know what? Tottenham are starting to make some moves. Arsenal have... Guys, I've seen... Wait, what's this? Oh. I thought that was Arsenal making a world record bid. But it's actually the women's. Sorry, yeah. So... yeah, I've literally seen no football news. I've literally just been non-stop today, man. So, yeah, it's been mad. It's been mad. But, yeah, we're here. Big up to Arsenal and Pakistan cricket team fan. Big up for coming on. But, yeah, guys, my day today has been mad. Absolutely mad. Obviously, I've been working today, and then I think I've been in, like, traffic for about... I want to say I've been in traffic for, in total, about an hour and a half of traffic, trying to get my hair cut, trying to get a little trim and that. And then, obviously, I've come back and I've had to go to the gym quickly. But in the meantime, I was trying to get some petrol. And where I am, there's just literally no petrol. So literally, I'm running on empty at the moment. And as I said, I've managed to do a quick little 45 minutes in the gym, a bit of a rush session, and obviously come back to give you guys some content, but it's been a mad day, man. As I said, I didn't think I'll be able to do this this stream. Yeah, big up to Sham. Yeah, Sham, listen, I wasn't even in London. Well, I say London, man. I've been in traffic literally for about an hour and a half today, just trying to get a trim, as I said earlier. And yeah, man, and I've actually run out of petrol as well, and there's no petrol about where I am. Then I tried to fit in the gym for a quick little 40 minutes, 45 minutes, a rush session, and then obviously trying to get back for 7:30, man. So it's been one of them days, man, one of them days. But as I said, there's no way I was gonna miss this stream, man, or miss a stream. So yeah, big up yourselves for coming through. But guys, we got a lot to talk about, and as I said, big up yourselves for coming through. We will get on to your questions after, but obviously there's a few things that I want to discuss, in regards to yesterday's game. There's a few talking points that I want to, key talking points that I want to discuss. And again, make sure you put your questions in the chat. And again, guys, if you haven't subscribed, if you haven't smashed that like button, make sure you do. And I will get back to your questions definitely after I finish saying what I got to say, because again, there's quite a few to go through. So, obviously, yesterday, even some of us in the chat were saying PSG and Real Madrid. I said PSG 3-2 because I see that PSG were missing William Pacho from suspension. So I thought Lucas Beraldo coming in, and I do think Beraldo is actually a decent defender. But I thought the fact that Pacho wasn't going to play, I thought Real Madrid would at least score a couple of goals. To think that PSG run out 4-0 winners, and well deserved as well. I watched the whole game, and I think PSG have just shown the whole of Europe that they're going to be the team to beat. Over the next couple of years, because I look at PSG's team, and I think they're the one team. They're the one team for me that doesn't really need much doing to their team. I think if we're being picky, we're probably going to say, someone that's eventually going to replace Marquinhos, a right-sided centre-back, if we're being picky. And then if we're saying a striker, someone that's a renowned striker if they move on Gonzalo Ramos. But again, that's if we're being picky. Because I think if we look at Donnarumma in goal, Hakimi, Nuno Mendes, obviously Marquinhos the captain, and bearing in mind Marquinhos is the only player in that in that lineup that is, above 30. And then you've got obviously Pacho and then Beraldo deputising for him. The midfield, as we know, Vitinha, João Neves, Fabian Ruiz with 2 goals. And then the front three, which is so fluid in Kvaratskhelia, Desiree Doué and Ousmane Dembele with Bradley Barcola on the bench as well. So I think looking at PSG's team, they don't need much doing to their team. I think, as I said, I think they're only going to be in the market for a player that they feel is better than what they've got, obviously, and someone that they might look at as to step straight into their lineup. But again, I don't really see, apart from probably Lamine Yamal, I think Lamine Yamal possibly at this moment in time, and for me, I love Pedri, as I said. I think they're probably the only 2 players that you can probably say, from an attacking point of view, might step into this PSG team. In defence, obviously, we've got the likes of Van Dijk, and a few others. But I think at this moment, Lamine Yamal probably and Pedri, because I'm looking at the fluid front three, I don't think they'd want a number 9 striker because that fluid front three works well. So I think they'll be happy with that. But yeah, as I said, guys, PSG for me are primed to dominate, and that game yesterday just showed, it showed levels really, some of the passing, some of the play. And I think in terms of the fullbacks, as we know, Hakimi and Nuno Mendes, those 2 guys have got pace to burn, especially on the recovery as well. And they're a massive attacking threat for PSG as well. And that midfield 3, I did say the midfield 2 or midfield 3 that Real Madrid are going to have problems because that team, that midfield 3 there, just keep the ball for fun, And we're going to get into Real Madrid's team in a minute because there's a lot of things to talk about with Real Madrid. But yeah, for me, PSG are the team to beat, and they're going to take some stopping. I think I can't really see a team at this moment in time that is really gonna trouble them. With how they play. Luis Enrique's just got a very good team there, man. And the balance there is perfect. As I said, there isn't too many players that you can look at right now that can come in and for me and displace anyone in that lineup. Apart from the ones that I've just mentioned. So yeah, I think over the next 5 years, I'm gonna say 5 years, I expect them to dominate. Because to think that they've won the Champions League, the league title in France, the cup. They're in the final as well against Chelsea, and I expect them to beat Chelsea as well. I think Moises Caicedo, if he's not playing, because I know he picked up an injury towards the end of the game. If he's not playing, that's going to be a massive miss. But I think in terms of what PSG have got, they're going to take some stopping, man. So what a performance. Fabian Ruiz with 2 goals. I mean, Ousmane Dembele hitting 40, I think he hit 40 goals for the season. He's either got 40 goals or he's got 40 GA for the season, something like that. And I think I see he's got 93 appearances this season or something like that. So for someone that was injury prone at the start of his career, it's mad how to see he's staying fit now. But and then obviously the 4th goal was scored by Gonzalo Ramos. Great finish as well. Great play from Barcola. And the bit of skill in the box from Ramos was good. So, yeah, I think they're going to take some stopping, man. But, guys, moving on to Real Madrid. And as I said, make sure you smash the like button if you're enjoying the content. And if you're new in here, make sure you subscribe to the channel at GavGoesIn. And, guys, give me your comments. And as I said, I will get back to your comments at the end once I've gone through what I'm going through. Moving on to Real Madrid, guys. Now, I'm going to touch quickly on, obviously, a certain player that I've been talking about recently and some comments that come in from the manager as well. And again, I'm not going to dwell too much on it because I've already spoken about him and my feeling that he should leave Real Madrid. But I think yesterday was obvious, that Rodrygo wasn't going to start. So I wasn't surprised to see him not starting. To think that he didn't get a minute, and again, if we look at the 3 that started, Mbappe, Vinicius Jr. and Gonzalo Garcia, and let's get it right. Garcia deserved to play because, You know, what's he got? 4 goals and 1 assist, I think, in this tournament so far. So he deserved to play. And then obviously Vinny and Mbappe are going to play because of the name they have in the game. And I'm going to get onto those two in a minute, as well as Jude Bellingham. So for me, the fact that Rodrygo didn't even get on the pitch, get no minutes, and then Xabi Alonso comes out after the game and says, and again, I can't remember the whole quotes, but it was something to do with a technical decision, you know, and again, a generic answer, because I don't care if it's a technical decision. Like, Rodrygo for me has to play because he's their most talented forward, regardless if Mbappe or Vinicius Jr. or even Bellingham have the bigger name than him. He's the most talented player out of all them, you know. And for me, the fact that Xabi Alonso, you know, a manager that I do like, said it's for a technical decision why Rodrygo didn't play. I think that spells the end for Rodrygo for me. I don't see Rodrygo, and I'll be very surprised if Rodrygo actually stays, but I can't see Rodrygo being a regular starter under Xabi Alonso in this system for me. Because for me, I know the other two were going to play, and Garcia as well, but I thought Xabi Alonso would have surprised us and played Rodrygo, if I'm honest. You know, semi-final against the best team in the world right now. And to think that, you know, he didn't even get a minute, I think it's safe to say that his days are numbered. And not because he's not good enough, but because, again, the manager is obviously looking at other players, and he's got so much competition for places. And there's certain players that have to play, you know. So for me, Rodrygo, I'll be very surprised if he's at Real Madrid come the end of the transfer window, you know, because I reckon there's going to be teams now that might even test the waters with Real Madrid. And I did see something as well where they said, I think there was something as well where they said that his future is going to be decided, I believe, next week sometime, you know. And for me, he has to go, man, for the betterment of his career, because to think that a player of that quality didn't get any game time, you know, is criminal, really, you know. And as I said, I think there's going to be, I'm looking at Bayern Munich, I'm looking at Man City, I'm looking at Chelsea, definitely those three, possibly a few others as well, to test the waters with a bid for Rodrygo. And I think if he comes out and says that, you know, he's unhappy and wants to go, I don't think Real Madrid stand in his way, as they don't with many players, and I can see him moving on, you know. But guys, just going on to this Real Madrid team, and am I surprised that they got absolutely destroyed by Real Madrid? Yes, by PSG yesterday. Guys, big up for your questions. As I said, I will get back to all your questions after. I just got a couple of things to go through, and if you just come in there, make sure you smash that like button, and again, subscribe to the channel. We got 7 likes at the moment. Let's at least, guys, try and hit 10 likes. Obviously, try and help the channel to grow. And again, make sure you subscribe as well to see other content as well. So as I said, guys, I think I'm not surprised that they got absolutely destroyed by PSG yesterday, because the team that he played was the team that I think I did say, or how he was going to play them. So it was obviously Courtois in goal, the back four of Valverde at right back. I think a few in the chat thought that Valverde was going to play in midfield, but I can see that Valverde was going to play at right back to deal with Kvaratskhelia. Left back, Fran Garcia, who I think is quite decent. And then Rudiger, who had a bit of a poor game by his standards. And then young Raul Asensio, who struggled throughout the game. And then in midfield, Tchouaméni, the deepest line midfielder, with Arda Güler and Bellingham as the most advanced. And then the three of Gonzalo Garcia, Mbappe, and Vinicius Jr. Now, the problems that I see with this Real Madrid team, first and foremost, is, and I'm a massive fan of him, and that is Arda Güler, you know. So, Arda Güler, for me, does deserve to play, you know, but there's problems within this Real Madrid team, because As long as the manager's going to continue persisting with and playing Jude Bellingham, it just means between the likes of Arda Güler and even a Rodrygo, you know, one of them is going to miss out. And I said this, you know, at the start of the Club World Cup. I said, if Bellingham's going to continue to play, and if he plays him in a deep line midfield role or play him as a 10, one of Güler or Rodrygo are going to miss out or play out of position. And that is what you're seeing. So as good as Arda Güler is, for me, Arda Güler's a 10, or he plays inverted from the right, you know. But Xabi Alonso obviously has his own ideas, playing Güler, central midfield with Jude Bellingham. And then the problem that I'm seeing with Real Madrid is that you've got Gonzalo Garcia, who, again, top scorer for Real Madrid in this competition so far. Well, he was, shall I say. And you've got Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe. Now, this team's very imbalanced to start with, because you've got two players in Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. who are actual wide players, you know. But what happened is that because Xabi Alonso is trying to shoehorn both of them in, it means the team's unbalanced, and it means Gonzalo Garcia, who's actually a striker, has to now play out from the right, because you can't have because what I see in the first half, which was confusing, I see Vinicius Jr. play on the right when Vinicius Jr. has very rarely played on the right, if ever. And then Mbappe was through the middle or on the left, and then Garcia in the middle. And then at times I see Garcia on the right, Mbappe through the centre, Vinicius Jr. on the left. And again, they're very unbalanced because it's trying to shoehorn players in there. Not to mention, you've got Jude Bellingham in there, who again, he does have the physicality in terms of the engine, but hasn't got the discipline to stay in midfield and either protect Tchouaméni, you know, or build up the play from midfield. So, again, I'm not surprised that they got smoked by PSG, because the balance is all wrong. Now, what Xabi Alonso is going to have to do, and this is why I said about Rodrygo, because Rodrygo actually, you've got Rodrygo, Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe, who are all left wingers, you know. But as I mentioned before, Rodrygo, with the lesser profile, has to play on the right-hand side. Now, to think that he played Gonzalo Garcia and didn't play Garcia through the middle, because he's got to fit in Mbappe, and again, Mbappe's got the biggest profile in the team. It means that you've got a striker now who's out wide, and there's absolutely no balance in the team, you know. So what he should have done for me, you know, is, and again, Xabi Alonso for me has to be brave. And the problem is, I don't see a manager being brave and doing this. If I'm Xabi Alonso and I want to go like for like, you know, and I want to make the team more balanced, what he should have done, you know, is drop one of Mbappe or Vinicius Jr. Or if anything, drop both of them. Because he could have played Rodrygo if he was, obviously I'm not sure what Rodrygo's fitness is like, but Rodrygo could have played from the left. You could have played Gonzalo Garcia through the middle. You could have played Arda Güler in the 10 or Arda Güler from the right, you know. So between Vinicius Jr., Mbappe and Bellingham, one, if not two of them, had to be dropped, you know. And the problem is, all three of those players, you know, are three players when they're fit are going to start. And that's going to create a massive problem in terms of the balance for Real Madrid, you know. Because, as I said, Arda Güler is a 10. He should be playing the 10, but he wants to shoehorn Bellingham in there, you know. If you're not going to play Güler in the 10, play him on the right as an inverted. You're not going to do that. Or if you're going to play Rodrygo from the left so he can invert, you know. But what you don't do to imbalance the team is play Güler, Bellingham in the midfield. And you got to feel sorry for Tchouaméni, because Tchouaméni more or less is in there by himself. I mean, if you look at PSG's midfield three, they're very balanced. They are actually three central midfield players, you know, that can, all three of them can do different jobs, you know. You got Vitinha that can drop deep and pick the ball up. Fabian Ruiz can do that. The same with João Neves. Obviously, all three of them offer the energy, the athleticism as well. And most importantly, all three of them can keep the ball. Whereas you've got Real Madrid's team, and the only one that I would say that is confidently of keeping the ball more than not is probably Arda Güler. But again, Arda Güler is not a central midfield player. So, as I said, the imbalance of that team is worrying. And going forwards, I personally think if Rodrygo does go, it's going to create less of a headache for Xabi Alonso if he wants to persist playing with Bellingham, Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe. And just going on to Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe, them two together don't work. No matter what anyone says, them two together do not work because they are both left wingers, And I did say when they signed Mbappe on a free transfer, it was on paper, it looks like a good signing, but I did say the only way you bring in an Mbappe is if Vinicius Jr. moves on. Because as long as they keep playing Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. in the same team, when they play against the elite teams, they're going to get beat. And that showed yesterday against PSG. Because football's about having synergy. It's about having balance, And the most fluent, the most balanced front three that Real Madrid have to offer would be either playing Rodrygo, Arda Güler, Mbappe, or playing Rodrygo, Vinicius Jr. Rodrygo, Arda Güler, Garcia. Or if you want to play Vinicius Jr., Güler, Garcia. But I think if you're going to continue playing Mbappe, Vinicius Jr. together, I think that's going to be problems for Real Madrid. Because again, just like what happened when you had Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe at PSG, you're going to have 2 or 3 players that are going to be behind the ball, which means that the midfield and the defense are going to have a lot more to do. So I don't really know what's going to happen going forwards for Real Madrid, because for me that was concerning, that loss, 4-0 to PSG, and it could have been more as well. Courtois made a couple of good saves, but let's be honest. Yeah, I'm not sure what he's gonna do. I don't even know if he's gonna go into the market and get someone else, because the balance of that team isn't good enough. And again, Xabi Alonso, for me, if he doesn't get the balance right, and that means dropping either Bellingham, Mbappe, or Vinicius Jr., don't be surprised, guys, if you see Xabi Alonso lose his job sooner than you think. Because to get beat 4-0, their fans, the management there are not gonna be happy. And that was an absolute battering, and it should have been and could have been more. And as I said, man, going forwards, I don't think Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. work. It's never going to work because, as I said, on paper it looks good, but against the best teams, it's imbalanced. Playing Jude Bellingham and Arda Güler as 2 central midfielders is not going to work. Arda Güler is a 10. Jude Bellingham is a box crasher, a box-to-box midfielder. Camavinga, I'm not sure if Camavinga's injured, but Camavinga, for me, when he's back fit, has to start. For me, I think Real Madrid's best team. And again, guys, let me know what you think about Real Madrid's best team. But when everyone's fit, this is the team that I'm going to play. Courtois in goal. Rudiger and I know Dean Howson. I like Dean Howson, to be fair. But you can pick between Howson and Eder Militao. I think Militao's came back from injury, and obviously Dean Howson's a new signing. So you're probably saying Dean Howson and Rudiger at centre-backs. I think personally, and I'm saying it on the 4-2-3-1. Again, Xabi Alonso might even play 3 at the back. But based on the 4-2-3-1, I will play Courtois in goal, Howson or Militao, and Rudiger. Left back, I like Ferland Mendy, but I'm not sure if he's injured. But I'd play Ferland Mendy. And then at right back, I think people would probably say Trent, but I'm going to say Carvajal, purely because Carvajal's experienced. He's a winner, and he's a leader as well. So, and I think Real Madrid are missing Carvajal's experience, and again, he's been injured, but he's back available now. But I'm going to say Carvajal, right back, Ferland Mendy, Rudiger, and Howson or Militao. Now, the midfield for me is interesting. And again, I think a few of you are going to go for a different midfield. And again, make sure you put that in the chat and let me know what midfield you go with. But I'm going to say a midfield 3 of Camavinga and Tchouaméni. French combination there. or Camavinga and Valverde, and then Arda Güler in the 10. I think Arda Güler needs to be playing the 10 and have that freedom to create, you know. I know people are going to tell me, what about Bellingham? But guys, I don't rate Bellingham. I've never rated Jude Bellingham. Jude Bellingham, for me, is one of the most overrated players, along with Bruno Fernandes, in world football right now. And the thing is with Jude Bellingham is that his profile's so big now, all of a sudden, is that he's actually stopping other players that are technically better and more suited to playing a cohesive brand of football at Real Madrid. He's actually stopping that for me, because Arda Güler should be playing the 10 and giving his flowers to try and make that position his own. And then the front three, as I've said, it's got to be Rodrygo if he does stay on the left, and or even if you want to persist with Rodrygo on the right, you know, the Rodrygo, Vinicius Junior, and Mbappe doesn't work for me. So one of them has to miss out, you know. So, but again, do I see Xabi Alonso playing Gonzalo Garcia regularly? I don't. And then you've got if Guler's not going to play in the 10, can he play inverted? Brahim Diaz as well can play as a 10. But again, as I said, I think people are just putting them in. People are just putting those players in because of numbers and because of status. But it's not for the balance of the team. And this is what a lot of people need to realise. You know, as long as they keep playing with, especially with Mbappe and Vinicius Junior, against the better teams, I can see them struggling. Definitely, you know. But guys, yeah, let me know what you think. As I said, let me know what you think. Do you think Mbappe, Vinicius Junior, or Bellingham, out of those three, I'm looking at two of them have to be dropped, you know. At least two of them, for me, have to be dropped if Real Madrid want to play a cohesive brand of football and have good synergy and balance in the team. Let me know what you think about PSG. Do you think PSG are primed to dominate with that team? And if there's one player that you could put into PSG's realistically, who would that be? Because I look at their team now, and for me, there isn't much improvement. You know, as I said, I think if we're looking at someone to eventually take over from Marquinhos, you know, I can see that. But apart from that, I think there isn't much to do with that team, you know. Rodrygo, again, getting no minutes. Let me know what you think about Rodrygo. You know, Xabi Alonso coming out and saying that it was a technical reason, which I don't believe, you know. And again, let me know what you think about Real Madrid's imbalance. Do you think going forwards, Vinicius Junior, Mbappe and Bellingham can all play in the same team and thrive? Let me know, guys, in the chat. But I'm going to go through all your questions. Big up to all of you in there. There's 15 of you in there watching. 13 likes. Let's smash the like button, guys. Help the channel to grow. And again, make sure you subscribe to my channel at GavGoesIn. So yeah, going to go through all the questions. To big up all the mods for coming on as well. Yeah, guys, obviously, if you've missed the start of the show, you know, I've had a mad day today. You know, I've been stuck in traffic for in total, for about an hour and a half, just trying to get a trim after I finish work. Obviously, there's a certain roundabout that I go through, which has been blocked off. And that's going to be like that for the whole summer. And then, obviously, I've had to try race home, go to the gym quickly. But I've been low on petrol. And I've gone to 3 different petrol stations. And literally, they've run out of all fuel in my area. You know, I've had to rush my workout as well. You know, and obviously, yeah, I was about 5 minutes late. But again, there was no way I was going to miss this stream. And obviously, I told you guys that I'm going to stream at 7:30. And that's what I've lived up to, man. But I think earlier, I was thinking, am I going to make it back in time? You know, but I've still got a few things to do once my day's over. But yeah, it's been mad, to be honest. But big up yourselves for coming on. So Arsenal and Pakistan cricket team has said Kudus and Gibbs-White might get Spurs top 10 again. Do you know what? The Gibbs-White one, I didn't see. And I think what's mad is that you look at Nottingham Forest, yeah? Nottingham Forest, you know, they were one of the favourite teams to get into the Champions League. Obviously missing out, settling for Conference League. But I think what's happened over the couple of days, I think Palace might not get into the Europa, which means that Forest will get in there. But if you look at Ilanga's gone Newcastle. He's playing Champions League football this season. And then now Spurs have activated the 60 million release clause for Gibbs White. He's going to be playing Champions League football. But the one thing about Gibbs White, what I would say, what does that mean for James Maddison? That's what I want to know, because Kudus coming in, you'd think Kudus is going to play on the right, definitely. But Kulusevski can play in the 10. Maddison can play in the 10. And then you've got Gibbs White. And I think, are they getting Gibbs White because they want to use Gibbs White on the left? And that means, obviously, the Eze deal is a non-starter now. You know, that's going to be interesting because, as I said, you've got 3 players there that can play in the 10. Obviously, Gibbs White can play from the left as well. And are they getting Gibbs White because he can play from the left and play in the 10? You know, what's happening with Son? Is that mean Son's going to move on? Mattis Tell obviously has been signed as well. You know, the Eze one, as I said, there was interest in Eze. But I think if they're signing Gibbs White, I think that's the Eze deal dead now. I think that must be why that's happening. But yeah, them getting Kudus and Gibbs White, I think definitely top 10 is the... I think top 10 will be a minimum target for Tottenham, you know, for me. I look at their lineup now. Again, they've been linked to Johan Visser. And again, it's weird because I said yesterday, why don't Tottenham go in for Visser? You know, Thomas Frank, you know, I thought the fact that he tried to get Mbuemo, you know, I thought Visser would be the next one, definitely. If they get Johan Visser to go with Kudus and Gibbs White and what they've got already, I'd expect Tottenham to be pushing top 6, as Sham has said, definitely. I think that should be the minimum requirement if that happens, you know. Let's have a look. So, if we get Gyökeres, Gav, we will win 8-0 versus Man United. Listen, Arsenal and Pakistan cricket team. Do you remember the game at Old Trafford when a certain Ashley Young, Wayne Rooney were playing? And I think we beat you guys 8-2 at Old Trafford, you know. There's no way in my lifetime I'm going to see Arsenal ever beat United 8-0. So, bro, listen, you can keep dreaming, you know, and that's all it is. But as shit as we are right now, it's never going to be an 8-0. We ain't that bad, put it that way. But I think for sure we can say that Arsenal are likely to finish above United this season, just judging by the last couple of seasons. But 8-0, yeah, I'm not sure what you're smoking, man, but stop. Trent and Howson not playing affected Madrid. Valverde was right back, and Asensio performed terribly. Yeah, listen, I hear it. Do I think Trent stopped? Do I think Trent makes a difference to that PSG game yesterday? I don't. I think Trent offers the quality that we know, but PSG were always going to beat that Real Madrid team because Real Madrid are very imbalanced, and again, the way they played. You know what I mean? There isn't many players that would have stopped that because, again, they were playing to a high level. And again, it could have been more. So, yeah, I don't believe that. Dean Howson, I do like Dean Howson. But again, Asensio was poor. But PSG, for me, was still going to win the game. And I said that from the start. So, I don't think the players you've mentioned would have changed much. I like Valverde, and again, I did say Valverde was going to play right back to deal with Kvaratskhelia, but Valverde is a midfield player, and obviously if Carvajal stays fit, Trent's there now as well. I expect him to see playing more in midfield this season. For me, Camavinga is one of their best midfielders. You know, I love Camavinga at Man United, and I'm just praying Camavinga wants to leave, which again I don't think he does, because. For me, Camavinga is one of the best midfielders in the world, you know. And the fact that he doesn't start regularly for Real Madrid, I don't really understand. But who knows? Xabi Alonso might start him because if you look at, he had Granit Xhaka, you know, left-footed central midfielder at Bayer Leverkusen. So he might even look at Camavinga as his Granit Xhaka in a sense, you know. Who knows? Big up to DXR. DXR says Asensio is a sus centre-back. You know what? I think he's good, but obviously he's had a bad game yesterday. But they're likening Asensio to Sergio Ramos. So whether he can have half the career that Ramos had, you know, he'll be some player, man. Because Ramos for me is one of the best all-time centre backs, all-time great centre backs for me. Let's have a look. So Howsam missing was their downfall, but the way PSG play, it was likely they would have won either way. Yeah, exactly what I said, Sham. I don't think the players that was mentioned earlier, I don't think they make a difference to the result yesterday. I think if you're looking at the mistake that Rudiger made, you know, Rudiger doesn't really make the mistakes. You know, Howson got caught out as well. But for me, yeah, I don't think there would have been much difference, if I'm honest. So Gamer says, I predicted 4-2. I was wrong. Real Madrid couldn't even get one goal. Real Madrid got some serious work to do. The thing is, Real Madrid, realistically, I wouldn't say they've got a lot of work to do. It's the balance, you know, because they've got world-class players. They've got very good players. But the balance in terms of playing Mbappe, Vinicius Jr. and Bellingham all in one team isn't going to work long-term. So if Xabi Alonso gets some balls and just says, look, I'm dropping at least two of them or one of them, and then they feel they have to move on, then it's going to work better for the team in terms of the balance, because that's what's missing. You don't play Goulet and Benham as 2 8s and then play a front three of Mbappe, Vinicius Jr. and then play Gonzalo Garcia out of position. Like, you're just asking for trouble there. And if you're going to play Garcia, just play him through the middle, because that's where he's been getting his goals and he's earned the right. You know, but if you're going to persist and play with Mbappe, Vinicius Jr., you know, two players that, you know, want to be the stars of the team, and then you've got Benham thrown into that mix as well, they're going to struggle. It's obvious. You know, football's about synergy. It's about balance. And those three players there are not what's best for Real Madrid in terms of the balance. So, yeah. Yeah, Mendy is solid. Mendy is solid. I'm not sure if Mendy's injured, but I think, yeah. Obviously, they got that Alvaro Fernandez, ex-Man United defender, coming in as well. So I think that could... I mean, one day Mendy's going to be moved on, because you'd think Fernandez is going to come in at left back. But again, they can bring in Fernandez, left back, Trent, Howson. It's not going to make one bit of difference if they're going to persist playing with that three of Vinny, Mbappe, and Bellingham. It's not going to work. So, yeah. Gamer says Dembele for the Ballon d'Or. Do you know what? Could Dembele get the Ballon d'Or if PSG win the Club World Cup? You know what? He could be in with a shout, you know. Do you know what? Again, it's going to keep... Because for me, it's between Yamal and Dembele. I don't see anyone else being in the conversation. You know, I think there was talk about Rafinha. But for me, Rafinha... I think the fact that Barca didn't win the Champions League, I think Rafinha might miss out, even though he's got ridiculous numbers. But as I said before, with Yamal's is the real ball player there. So for me, it's between Yamal and Dembele. And I think if Dembele has a massive effect and gets a goal in the final of Club World Cup, you know, who knows? He could be the front runner for it, you know. But I'm gonna say between them two. So I can't really pick. But I'm gonna say Yamal at the moment. But Dembele could do it if he helps PSG win the Club World Cup and gets a goal. So yeah, only Marquinhos is old. Marquinhos is their captain, obviously, and he's the only player that's above 30. So, as I said earlier, I think if PSG go in for someone, it might be the eventual replacement for Marquinhos. I think I see someone earlier say Saliba, and you know what? That's not a bad shout. You know, Saliba's French, you know, French international as well. And to be honest with you, if he's unhappy at Arsenal, or he feels Arsenal not going in the right direction, Listen, that'd be a great move, man. And I think if Saliba was to go to PSG, I think that makes them. I think that might even take them to another level because Marquinhos for me is very good, but what I would say is that Saliba has the added incentive of the pace that Marquinhos doesn't really have. I know Marquinhos is a leader, but I think Saliba's got the pace which could take him and PSG to another level if he does go there. But yeah, we have to wait and see. Gav, predict the scoreline, Club World Cup final and the UEFA Super Cup. So, Club World Cup final, I'm going to say PSG. I don't think PSG beat Chelsea 4-0. I don't think that happens. But I'm going to say PSG... I'm going to say PSG 2-1. Because I think the key player in this game, not just for Chelsea, but the whole game, is Moises Caicedo. I think if Caicedo's fit, I think he gives Chelsea a chance because I think he's that important, So I'm gonna say PSG 2-1, but I don't see Chelsea beating them because the PSG for me are just the complete team, man. And yeah, I'm gonna say 2-1. PSG. Super Cup, who's it against Super Cup? Oh, PSG and Tottenham. I'm going to say, yeah, PSG for me win the Super Cup. 2-0 against Tottenham. 2-0, 3-0, 2-1, 3-1. I know Tottenham will have some players in as well, but I think PSG are going to take some stopping, and I don't see Tottenham or Chelsea stopping them, if I'm honest, As Gamer says, Rodrygo must leave. 100% agree with that. He has to leave for me. No doubt. So, Vinny as right wing and Mbappe wasn't pressing. But again, this is what I was saying, Arsenal and Pakistan, a cricket team fan. You've got two players there that in their own rights think that they're the stars of the team. So, it's another PSG thing with Messi, Neymar and Mbappe. You've got three players there that rightfully as well are three superstars. And you've got the same thing at Real Madrid. You've got Mbappe and Vinicius Jr., who are two of the superstars in world football. Mbappe because of what he's done for France and obviously the status that he's got in football. Vinicius Jr. for what he's done for Real Madrid. So you've got those two who are superstars of the team, who both will feel that they don't have to do the running. And then if you add Bellingham into that as well, who in his own head thinks he's that guy, which he isn't, you're going to have three players there that are going to cause problems for the balance of the team. So, yeah. And again, why is Vinny playing on the right? Vinny shouldn't be playing on the right because he's always played on the left wing at Real Madrid when he's had Benzema playing through the middle and then a Rodrygo on the right, or Brahim Diaz who has played there. All of a sudden now, you've got Mbappe coming in, and then you've got Gonzalo Garcia, who has proved that he should have played as well. Vinicius Jr. finds himself on the right-hand side. So, again, these things are going to cause you some problem. Gav, not football related, but I'm going to go gym this Saturday like after years. Been doing home workouts now for a month. Dumbbells, etc. Yeah, big up, man. Any tips for a smooth return? Bro, what I would say is just get your compound exercises in. Get your pull-ups in, get your dips in, your push-ups, your squats, your deadlifts. Get all your compound exercises in, working major muscle groups, working multiple muscle groups as well. So, yeah, that's what I would say, man. Just get your compound exercises in, get your cardio done as well after you finish training. And most importantly, bro, keep it consistent. There's no success to hard work, man, or to improving whether it's your body or your physique or wherever. As I say, I think what many people would get wrong in the gym as well is that a lot of people like to make things complicated. The gym is very simple. Just do the obvious push and pull movements in the gym. Chest, back, shoulders, legs. Do the obvious exercises. And as I said, keep it consistent, man. Don't overcomplicate things. Keep it consistent, and you'll see the results, man. So That's all it is, really. That's all it is, man. Big up yourself. Guys, come on, 14 likes. Let's try and hit 15 likes. There's 8 of you now. There's 8 of you in there. If you haven't smashed that like button, make sure you do. So Sham says, AP fan, Vinny is left wing. He's gone missing for so long. I don't think Vinny's gone. I think the problem with Vinicius Jr., and it's very obvious what's happened, is the Mbappe conundrum. Since Mbappe's come in, Vinicius Jr. hasn't been what he's been. And that's no surprise because, as I said, you can't have Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe in the same team. Something's got to give because both players want to be, as I've mentioned, the stars of the team. So Vinny might feel a bit out of place, because, again, Mbappe's come in, and again, it's one of them things where, yeah, it's taken the shine away from his game. So, and again, look what's happened to Rodrygo. Rodrygo, unfortunately, now is the casualty of that as well. So, yeah, there's big problems, but it's not problems that I would say are impossible to solve. I think you just need to have a set of balls and do what's right. Gunners fan says Gibbs White and Solanke both lookalikes in the same team. You know, that's not a bad shout, Yeah, I didn't really think of that. Yeah, 2 light-skinned guys in the team as well. Yeah, I didn't really think of that, Gunners fan. Big up, man. I bet you'd have liked to have both of them in your team, though. We could have bought Gibbs White for almost the same price as we are getting Madueke. Do you know what? I thought I'd go through this whole stream without mentioning that name. But, Gunners fan, you've pulled me in, man. You've pulled me in. I was talking to some people today, man, about Madueke. So at work, obviously, 3 of them are Arsenal fans, And, I mean, to think that Arsenal are getting Madueke, they're spending 55 mil on Madueke. I mean, part of me still wants to believe it's a joke because why would they go and spend 55 mil on Madueke for someone that's not going to start? That's the first thing. And then you look at Kudus, yeah? Kudus, if Kudus was to go to Arsenal, like people will say Bukayo Saka is an automatic starter, but if you bring in Kudus doesn't make Saka an automatic starter. He battles Saka for a starting place. And again, this is how you improve your squad, your bench. Madueke, for me, is not going to come in and displace Saka. And if he does happen to do that, that just means Arsenal have gone down a level. So again, it's very odd to see why this manager is hell-bent on getting Madueke. And again, it's another club, just like Man United, that are giving Chelsea money to go and buy other players. Like, it's criminal, man. I can't believe 55 mil for Madueke is laughable, Guys, I'll be the first one to hold my hands up and say, you know what? Arsenal signed Madueke. He's got them to a title or a Champions League. But I can tell you this right now, confidently, that's not going to happen. And if anything, I see Arsenal regressing. So, yeah, it's madness, man. 55 mil on that. Big up to Michael Bracewell. Says, Gavin, how many years do you think Nwaneri would become starter for both club and country? Good question. So, for me, first and foremost, he has to move away from Arsenal. Because as long as he's at Arsenal, he's not going to be a regular starter, And I mentioned as well, guys, if you check out my Next Gen 50, obviously I've done it on a certain Max Dowman. I think he's, 14 or 15? Someone that's making waves in the youth team for Arsenal. I think if Nwaneri does move on, I think Dowman is the one that will take his place. And I can see Dowman making a debut possibly at a similar age to Nwaneri. I think Arteta I think Arteta likes to get these records for me. But to answer your question, if he stays at Arsenal, he doesn't become a regular for me, not for the next couple of seasons, because Saka's there, and you think Saka's not going anywhere. Odegaard's the captain. Kai Havertz is the highest paid player and can play in the 10. So where does Nwaneri actually figure? Which is why I said Nwaneri has to move. And if Nwaneri moves to a team where he's playing regular football, I have no doubt that he's going to be a senior England international. So for me, it depends on who he moves to, you know. But I don't believe it's going to be at Arsenal because not because he isn't good enough, but there's just too many factors that go against him right now. So yeah. Big up to Shamunia Binte Ismaila Sar. Yeah, big up for coming on. Big up to Agnes 14ish as well. So always great content. One of the best channels on YouTube. You will defo. What's that? Is that a bomb? Oh, blow up. Okay. Oh, big up Agnes. Yeah, listen. Yeah, big up for your comment. As I said, yeah. As you guys can see, man, I love talking about football. But yeah, no, big up for your comments. You know, obviously got to keep putting the work in, and hopefully that's a realization. So yeah, big up yourself. Gamer says, I think it's disrespectful. Rodrygo didn't get minutes. If I was him, I'd go Man City, 100%. I think Man City's crying out for Rodrygo personally, you know. And for me, if I'm Rodrygo, I'm looking at Man City as being the prime destination. But who knows? Gunners fan says, I only wanted Eze, not Madueke. Yeah, I think the fact that you're spending 55 mil on Madueke, I don't see Eze moving. And again, I don't necessarily think Eze fits Arsenal because Eze is actually a number 10. You know, if you're playing a 4-3-3, Eze can play as a left 10. But way Arsenal play with Odegaard in the 10, if Eze does play, he'll play as a winger. So Eze's not a winger, so he wouldn't fit Arsenal for me. So, I mean, again, he wouldn't really fit Chelsea because Cole Palmer plays as a 10 and it's a winger. He'd fit Man United because United play a similar formation to, at the moment, to Palace as a left 10, but Cunha's there. So I can see Eze staying where he is because I don't know who's going to fork the money out and does he actually suit many teams as well. So who knows? Who knows? Shamunia says, I think no Caicedo could cause Chelsea to get cooked. I agree. I think if Caicedo doesn't play and it's looking likely that Lavia, I'm not sure what's happening to him. I don't think Chelsea will get cooked because I think Chelsea will be a bit more compact than what Real Madrid were. But I can see if Caicedo doesn't play, I think I can see PSG running away with it. I don't think it'll be 4-0, but I can see it being 3-1, 2-0 if Caicedo doesn't play. Because for me, he's a massive miss. Sham's saying Caicedo's not playing in the final. Is that been confirmed, Sham? Is that been confirmed he's not playing? Because if he's not playing, man, that's a massive miss for Chelsea. And I'll go as far as saying now, PSG have won it. Even though I said they would win anyway. Gunners fan says Rodrygo should go to Bayern, where he's a guaranteed starter. Whoa, if he goes to Bayern, he'll be a guaranteed starter. If he goes to Man City, he will be as well. I think Rodrygo can go and start for any team in the world. That's how good I think he is. I think any team in the world, he goes and starts. Yeah, so, yeah, anyone. So, yeah. Michael Bracewell says, Bellingham was tapping in goals before Mbappe, and he got the stats. Now his stats are also mid. And you know what, Michael? Big up yourself big up yourself for your comment as well. And guys, I want people to pay attention to this because a lot of these things go over people's head. Now, when Bellingham was getting the goals in, you know, you had Sky Sports, you had all these people doing prop for Bellingham. Oh, Bellingham, another goal. Bellingham, another goal. Guys, did anyone realise why Bellingham was getting the goals? Because I'm going to tell you now, there was no striker there. So Bellingham was playing as the most advanced midfielder, more like a false nine, come attacking midfielder. And then you had the split strikers in Vinicius Jr. and Rodrygo. So Bellingham was tasked with the majority. So Bellingham was getting a lot of tap-ins because he was the most advanced midfielder because they had no striker. So there was no surprise that Bellingham was getting numbers, you know. And then as I said, if Real Madrid get a striker, Bellingham's numbers naturally will dry up because he's not going to be occupying a striker's position. So obviously Mbappe comes through, and Mbappe is going to hog the majority of the goals. Why? Because he's playing as the most advanced forward, which means Bellingham numbers automatically will go down. And again, that's not like hard to understand. It's just that understanding systems and formations and roles in teams. So Bellingham's role in the team where he had the split strikers of Vinny and Rodrygo meant that he could get the goals because he was tasked with being the main goal getter. Mbappe comes in, Bellingham drops deeper, doesn't get half the numbers. So again, it's not about looking at the stats. It's about looking at the overall player. And for me, the games that I see Bellingham in, regardless of the stats, he wasn't really playing that well anyway. But stats were hiding or they were masking his performances. And this goes for a lot of players, you know. I think Bruno Fernandes is the prime example. I watched every Man United game this season, and Bruno was poor for the majority of them. But again, as I've mentioned, because he's on every corner, every free kick, every penalty, you know, he plays every game. You know, his stats are bound to be good because they're either miscued stats where, as I mentioned before, no matter how bad the ball is, if a United player gets their head to the ball, that gets counted as a chance created. You know, this is why Bruno's stats look the way they are, because he plays every game, he's on every set piece, and these bogus stats are helping mask his performances. Because all you got to look at is how he performed in that Europa League final. The one game where United needed Bruno to step up, where was he? He was nowhere to be seen. So that's a good judgment of looking at players. And Bellingham is no different. Did I expect Bellingham to play well against PSG yesterday? I didn't, because PSG have a cohesive, balanced midfield three, and Bellingham, as I said, if he's not getting numbers, what's he actually doing? I think the best thing you can look at Bellingham is that he was tracking back, getting his foot in. But for someone that is hyped the way he is, that ain't good enough. You know, but don't be surprised because that is Bellingham for you. You know, he isn't good enough. And that's it, really. So Chelsea would need to play a low block and counter-attack in that case. Yeah, they would. But again, I'm looking at the players that they've got. I think João Pedro is definitely going to play after his 2 goals. Cole Palmer will be in the 10. I've got a feeling he might play Neto and Madueke on the flanks, and if he does that, then yeah, that might be a good option. But again, when you've got the 2 fullbacks in Hakimi and Nuno Mendes, two of the quickest fullbacks and the best fullbacks in Europe right now, I think it's going to be very difficult to kind of get behind that back line, you know. And again, I'm not sure if Pacho is back. Is Pacho suspended for just that game, or is he going to be back for the final? But yeah, I think a low block and a counter-attack might work well for Chelsea. However, yeah, I still believe it won't be enough. I think Caicedo is key. If Caicedo's not playing, I don't see Chelsea doing anything, you know. And again, PSG for me are the favourites anyway, so I expect that. So Gamer says Real Madrid got a lot of work to do. As I said, it's not a lot of work to do they've got to do. They've just got to get the balance right, you know. And that means, as I said, dropping 2 out of the 3 between Bellingham, Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe. You know, and until that happens, against the best teams, as I said, they're going to continue to struggle for me. Shamunia says, Courtois always backs Xabi first. He blamed Don Carlo in Al Hilal game. Now, when they lost, he is saying they weren't pressing. Yeah, but again, the pressing was obvious, you know, and I've mentioned this before already. Just look at the front 3. You know, I felt sorry for Gonzalo Garcia because, you know, he was starting the games before Mbappe came back. And because Xabi Alonso was trying to shoehorn Mbappe into the team, Garcia was playing right wing. Why is he playing right wing when he's a striker? And these are just part of the problems that a real manager or a proper manager just needs to grow some balls and just, as I said, yeah, drop one of them players. You know, it's gonna cause problems, but this is how you command the dressing room, and this is how you kind of get order and a cohesive brand and a style of play. Because those three players there are not going to work against the best teams. It's a fact, you know. Guys, come on. There's 27 of you watching live. You know, it's free content, 16 likes. If you're enjoying the content and the analysis, make sure you smash the like button. And again, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Big up yourselves. Just going to go on to a few more of the questions. Gamer says, it sounds like Rodrygo has no part in Real Madrid's anymore. How can he not play a minute? I would have took Vinny off at least 20 minutes. Yeah, Vinny did come off. So Brahim Diaz come on. I think Goulet went off as well. Burnham went off. They changed a lot of players, but Rodrygo didn't even get on the pitch, which is mad. So as I said, I'm not going to go too much into it because I kind of covered Rodrygo. For me, for the betterment of his career, he has to move on, definitely. Big up to Michael Bracewell says, who would you keep if you were Barca as a starter and backup? Juan Garcia, ter Stegen, Szczesny, or Inaki Peña? So for me, obviously, Juan Garcia is the new goalkeeper. So he's going to definitely be, whether he's the starter or the backup. For me, would be definitely ter Stegen still as well. Ter Stegen's got the experience, you know. I know he's obviously been out injured, but ter Stegen for me, in terms of being a ball-playing goalkeeper, you know, is top level, you know. But I think Juan Garcia is going to be the future #1. So I'm going to say ter Stegen and Juan Garcia. But ter Stegen will probably move on in the next couple of seasons, if not next season. I think Szczesny, in comparison to what he done, you know, in terms of helping out Barcelona, I think, yeah, he's definitely deserved the contract. I think Peña will move on. But yeah, I'm going to say Juan Garcia and ter Stegen, definitely. Guys, come on, there's 37 of you. Let's smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. And big up yourselves for your questions each and every time. So Michael says, where do you think Chelsea will finish with their new signings? So at this moment in time, I'm going to say Chelsea. I'm saying they're going to battle with Arsenal for fourth place. I said at the start of the window, I can see Arsenal finishing outside the top 4 in 5th. I think the fact that they've... I think if they get Gyökeres over the line, because he's someone that they actually need, I'm going to say they might cement 3rd. But the Madueke signing, for me, I think takes them backwards. So I'm gonna say right now, Chelsea and Arsenal, you know, one of them 3rd or 4th. I think Newcastle, if Newcastle happen to get another striker in to help Isak, you know, the Elanga signing I was shocked by. But if they get another couple of players in, then they could be in there. But I'm going to say Chelsea, as it stands right now, I'm going to say Chelsea... I'm going to say Chelsea 3rd. I'll say 3rd as it stands. But again, that order could be changed. Because, you know, if Arsenal make a couple of signings, they could go into 3rd. If Chelsea get another couple of signings that are notable signings, you know, that could push them nearer to Liverpool, Man City. I think Liverpool, Man City are the definite number 1 and 2 for me. Without doubt, you know. So Michael says if Jackson didn't get red card, Chelsea would have been first and would face tough opponents. Now they didn't have difficult knockout stages and reached the final. Yeah, I think Chelsea will, I mean, the path they had in terms of playing Al Hilal, not Al Hilal, sorry, Palmeiras, and who was the other team they played? Palmeiras and Fluminense, you know. Yeah, I think they were always the favourites, you know, but this is going to be their real test against the best team in the world right now. And as I said, I don't see them beating PSG. With Caicedo, I give them a slight chance because I think he's a massive player for Chelsea. But if he's out injured, I think that's game over for me, for Chelsea. But who knows? Football's a weird game, and anything can happen. Big up to Shaheen Afridi as well. So Shaheen says, do you think Napoli will win Serie A back-to-back? You know what? I think they will win back-to-back because I think if you look at Inter Milan, I think Inter Milan are going through a bit of a transition now. Obviously, they've lost Simone Inzaghi. They've got Christian Chivu in. You know, they might be losing a few players. Not too sure. Juventus, again, they're going through a transition, and the same with AC Milan. So I think Napoli, I think they'll be expected to win back-to-back titles, you know, because they've got the most settled team. Obviously, Conte is there as well. So, yeah, I expect them to win back-to-back. I'll be very surprised if Inter Milan or any other team trouble them, if I'm honest, you know. So, yeah, I'm going to say Napoli win it back-to-back. Ghana's fan says Barca finish above Real Madrid this season again. Yep, I think they will. And again, if you look at Barca's balance, they got a lovely balance there in their team. And you can tell they're looking for a left winger. You know, whether that's going to be Rashford or not, I don't know. But I think Barca's spending isn't done. I think they get a couple of players in before the window's shut. But yeah, I'm going to say Barca above Real. But again, if Xabi Alonso sorts the balance out, as I've mentioned previously, who knows? But I think that could be their undoing, that balance of the team there. So Gunners fan says Barca can get Rashford with a loan to buy. I don't think Barca want to do that, if I'm honest. This is the thing. I think Barca just want a straight loan to see how Rashford gets on. You know, I don't think Barca want Rashford as much as Rashford wants Barca. I think if Barca can get part of his wages covered by United without paying the loan fee or whatever it might be, I think Barca would take that as an option. But I think it's more about having a body, because obviously we know that their first choice was Nico Williams. And for me, Rashford is just an option. So I don't see them doing a loan to buy. I just see them doing a straight loan. And if it doesn't work out, they'd want to send him back to United, you know, which works out better for them. Obviously, United would like a permanent sell, but the wages that Rashford's on is not going to make it easy. So Shaheen says, why are Liverpool selling Diaz for so expensive? Well, I mean, I haven't heard Liverpool are actually selling Diaz, but if we're looking at the likes of, and again, Ilanga's gone for 55 mil. Kudus is going for, I think, 60. Cunha went for 62. Mbuemo, you know, Brentford wants 60. A lot of these players, Morgan Gibbs-White now is going for 60. So the starting price for Diaz is going to be 60. And he might even go for more than 60. But Liverpool have said that they're not willing to sell it, that they don't want to sell him. And not to mention as well, the reason why Diaz is so appealing is because he's on a low wage. Because if Diaz was on a high wage, Liverpool couldn't sell him for 60. You know, they'd have to sell him for 40, which is the same reason why Rashford is going for 40 mil, because of the high wage. So, again, yeah, these things come into fruition. But, again, from what I'm hearing, Liverpool don't want to sell Diaz. So, I've been hearing that he's agreed terms with Bayern Munich, which ain't going to be hard because of the wage he's on. But I'm hearing, yeah, at the moment that they don't want to sell. So until I think anything concrete comes out that he says he wants to leave or whatever, I think it's a lot of just rumours, you know. But what I would say, and I mentioned this yesterday, if I'm Luis Diaz's agent, I'm marching straight into that office and asking for a new contract. Because to think that Diaz is on 55 grand a week, you know, is a joke, really. So his agent should just go in there and say, look, if you want him to stay, he needs a new contract, you know, 150, I think, minimum. If Liverpool don't want to give him that, then, yeah, sell him. But I think definitely he's a new contract. Yeah, Retegi went to Al-Qadsiya? Yeah, I see that yesterday. Yeah, listen, Saudi offering the big money, man, so you can't really blame a lot of these players. When they're coming in with the big bucks, man, it's going to be hard to turn that down. So, you know, that's generational wealth there. So we can't really be surprised, you know. So Gamer says, bro, to be honest, I don't rate Bellingham anymore. He's not a strong enough player to dominate football for years to come. But, bro, he's not going to dominate football anyway. Like, I don't know where this domination that people think that Bellingham's going to do. He's not. I think what the problem with Bellingham, yeah, and I mentioned this today to at my work, two people that are fans of Bainham. I said, Bainham's done a very good job at convincing the public that he's an elite player. And a lot of it comes down to, you know, he's got a fan base, especially the English fan base, buying into him. If anyone remembers when England played Serbia, I think it was in the Euros, and it was the first game of the Euros, I believe it was. Was it Euros or the World Cup? I think it might have been the Euros. And, no, sorry, I think it might have been the World Cup, if I remember right. Was it the World Cup? I think it might have been the World Cup against Serbia. And if anyone remembers, the England fans were on the far side. The ball went out for a throw-in. And if anyone remembers, Filip Kostic, Serbian winger, I think he was walking over. And what Bainham done, Bainham just barged him for no reason, you know. And the reason Bainham done that is because the England fans were all standing there watching. And then what Bainham does, he does all the hand gestures, you know, all the G'ing up the fans. And a lot of fans that, you know, that have bought into Bainham will just start saying, you know, that's my leader, that's my captain. You know, it's all passion. And again, Bainham's done a very good job at getting a lot of fans to buy into him. So a lot of fans that don't really know what they're watching or what kind of player that they think they're watching will just buy into him because of the hype, because of him being a passion merchant, you know. In terms of his actual ability, you know, is nowhere near top level. You know, I've seen so many players throughout the years, and, you know, for people to be saying that Bainham's a top player, I'm never going to agree to that because I've seen too many good players, you know. But as I said, he's done a very good job at convincing the public that he's a top player. But really and truly, he's just a passion merchant. And the majority of the fans that, as we know, are just passion merchant fans. And as I said, Bainham's done a very good job at tapping into those fans. Because if we're being honest with you, there's no way Bainham should be a starter for England. Because in that number 10 position, you've got Morgan Rogers, you've got Cole Palmer, you've got Eze, you've got Morgan Gibbs-White, you know, there's probably a few others that should be playing ahead of him in that 10 position. But because of his status, the fact that he's at Real Madrid, he's gonna be there. And again, as long as that happens for club and country, I don't expect Real Madrid to do anything significant. That's the truth. So, yeah, but big up, gamer, man. Yeah, big up to Broderick, man. Preach, these stat padders are killing their teams. Bro, they've been killing their teams for a while. I mean, this is a talk that I can talk about forever, you know, about how stats have killed the game, you know. I keep mentioning this to everyone, you know. If anyone knows how many goals that Andres Iniesta and Zinedine Zidane averaged this season, you'll be shocked. But again, no one actually cared because we just knew watching these two players, you're looking at two of the best players ever in midfield. You know, these two guys averaged about 5 or 6 goals a season. But many people probably won't think that because the game now is all about stats and who's getting the most numbers. The game's been ruined, you know. Big up to Tom Lathan as well. So Tom says, do you think Gonzalo Garcia will get 15 plus G8 in La Liga? I mean, he should do, but whether he will or not, I'm not sure. A lot of it's going to come down to game time. Is Xabi Alonso, as I mentioned earlier, is he going to give him game time over Mbappe? And when I say over Mbappe, that means is he going to play Garcia through the middle and play Mbappe or Vinicius Jr. out wide, or even drop one of them? These are the questions that Xabi Alonso has to answer because at this moment in time, I'm not too sure, you know. But this Club World Cup, he definitely has deserved to get game time. And again, he's been their top goal scorer. So I shouldn't see no reason why not. But I think come the start of the season, I'll be very surprised if he's starting. Put it that way. Yeah, Gunners fan, I thought I see your message earlier. Yeah, Saliba at PSG. I think that would be a great move for Saliba personally and for PSG. You know, if they're looking at a Marquinhos replacement in the future, I think look no further than Saliba. Or who knows, there could be another player coming through, you know. You got Usman Diamande at Lisbon, Sporting Lisbon. He could be someone. But yeah, I think Saliba's the obvious one. Tom Lathan says Bellingham is just overhyped because when Real Madrid didn't have Mbappe, he tapped in goals and just did the celebration and got fame. So yeah, big up Tom, man. That's a bit similar to what I've said, really. I think I've covered really what my thoughts are on Bellingham. Yeah, a lot of it is passion, and again, he was getting numbers because of the position he was playing. And then when his numbers dry up, it's not really a surprise. It was always going to happen. So, yeah. So Gamer says, Xabi Alonso's got a big job. I don't think he'll be manager for long. So again, standards, if Xabi Alonso doesn't win the league this season and do well in the Champions League, I mean, it's unlikely he doesn't see out the season, but they'll be calling for his head, definitely, because that's the standards of Real Madrid, because they won nothing this season. To think that they brought in Xabi Alonso to replace Ancelotti, his first objective is to topple Barcelona and to at least get a semi-final of the Champions League, if not win it. And if that doesn't happen, I think Xabi Alonso, could be in trouble, definitely. So Tom Lathan says, who do you think will get most goals in the Premier League in the new season? So I think, the obvious ones are going to be Isak, Salah and Erling Haaland. They're going to be the obvious ones. I think if Liverpool change up their formation and play three at the back, I think Salah probably gets more goals because the running that Jeremy Frimpong is going to do in terms of his pace and what he can do for Salah, I think that will allow Salah to focus purely on just getting numbers because he's going to be playing infield and be closer to the goal. So I think if that was to happen, three at the back, I think Salah will be up there, And let's not forget as well, Erling Haaland, Salah and Isak are all penalty takers for their teams. So, if you're a penalty taker for your team, you're going to be up there. But I think, again, you're going to look at those three definitely being up there again. I think, yeah, I don't see no change because them three players as well are, they're crucial players for their teams. And, again, Man City create chances, so you expect Haaland to get the goals. Even though I think Man City are better with Marmoush up top there. They play better football with Marmoush. Isak, we know about already. And as I said, if Salah's closer to the goal and doesn't have to focus on being out wide as much because Frimpong will be there, I think Salah could get more goals. Whether he does that or not, I'm not too sure. But, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I think Konate doesn't leave Liverpool and signs a new contract. Yeah, I think Konate signs a new contract. I mean, what he's rumoured to be asking for, I think, to be fair, I think it's about 200 grand he's looking for, I think, again, if he doesn't get that, why wouldn't he be a target for someone like PSG? French as well, French international. So I think Liverpool as well need defenders. So I don't think they'll risk losing Ibrahima Konate for the sake of rewarding him with a new contract for me, Yeah, listen, gamer man, it's been a mad day, mad day, and I still got to go back out and get some petrol. That's how mad it is, bro. So, yeah, it's been a mad one. Shaheen says, is Palace still playing Europa League? Didn't Lyon qualify again? So, yeah, as I said, I think there's talk about Palace going to the Conference League and Nottingham Forest going into Europa because Lyon have been awarded... Lyon have retained their place in Liga. So, but yeah, that hasn't been finalised yet, but I think that will be soon. Do I think PSG can do a three-peat? I mean, it's going to be difficult. I think at this moment in time, you wouldn't bet against them. But I think doing a three-peat in this era of football now, where there's a lot of money, I think going to be difficult. But I wouldn't be saying that they can't because the way they're playing football, they're playing some of the best football in world football right now. So, yeah. Tom Lathan says, do you see Fatty getting redemption in Monaco? I hope so. I hope so because, I've mentioned this about Ansu Fati already. what it is with Ansu Fati as well, I'm actually surprised that his fee release is actually quite low. So I thought he was going to have a loan at Monaco and come back, but I think there's a clause in his contract where Monaco can activate a low release clause. I think something like 9 million or something like that. So again, it's unlikely he's going to go back to Barcelona, because if he does well, Monaco can just activate the contract, and if he doesn't do well, he'll go back to Barcelona and then be the pecking order anyway. So I don't know if he goes back to Barcelona. I think it's very unlikely for me, but I'm hoping he does have a redemption, because I do rate him still, Who do you think will sign duo Vissa and Mbuemo? So again, Mbuemo's looking like Man United, but I can't bother to go through this Mbuemo story because it's just pissing me off, really. United just need to just fix up and get it over the line. And this has been linked with Tottenham. Again, and Gamer can vouch for this. I said, why Newcastle haven't looked at Yohan Wissa, I'll never know. Because Wissa competing with Isak would take them on a level, because you got to think Newcastle are in Champions League. There's going to be a lot of games being played. So to have Wissa and Isak battling for a starting place, obviously Isak will be first choice, but having Wissa there as well, and Wissa can play out wide if need be, I don't know why they haven't looked at him, but I think Vissa's been looked at by Tottenham. So whether they felt their interest remains to be seen. Big up to Maxi GT. Big up for coming on. Guys, come on, 15 likes. There's 23 of you in there right now. Let's make sure we smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. So Sham says, gone are the days Modric and Kroos running the show in midfield for Real Madrid. Yeah, listen, end of an era, definitely. Modric obviously going to AC Milan last game yesterday. What a player he's been. Obviously Kroos retiring. It's sad, man, because, it just feels like it was yesterday when I was seeing the midfield of Busquets, Rakitic, Iniesta, Casemiro, Kroos, Modric. It just seems like yesterday, man. And obviously, all good things come to an end. But what a career Modric and Kroos have had, What a career they've had. So, yeah, 6 trophies PSG for me. Dembele must win Ballon d'Or. Yeah, listen, it's gonna be interesting, man. Definitely. Right, guys, I'm going to go through a couple more of your questions before I wrap, because I've got to go and get some petrol. But big up yourselves each and every time for coming through. There's 23 of you. Make sure, guys, if you haven't smashed that like button, you smash that like button if you enjoy the content. And again, make sure you subscribe to my channel if you're new in here. Big up to yourselves each and every time for coming through and contributing to the channel. Guys, apologies if I don't go through everyone's message. As I said, I got to shoot out, man. So I'm just going to go through some of the messages that... So big up to Veronica. TL Kouati says, I think Bellingham is good and works for the team, isn't selfish and Fede. So, yeah, but again, Bellingham playing with Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe isn't good balance for the team. Fede Valverde I like, and I rate Valverde ahead of Bellingham anyway. But again, this is something that Xabi Alonso has to figure out, because, as I said, if he continues doing what he's doing, I think there's going to be problems. Because even playing with the 3 at the back, the midfield has to be disciplined. And I think for balance, between Valverde, Camavinga and Tchouaméni, they have to play as a deep line midfielders. And then if you're going to play 2 sort of number 10s, either side of a striker, again, you've got to pick between Goulet, Bellingham, Vinny, Rodrygo, I think, is going to move on. So he's got things to think of, but that's why they get paid the money, Arsenal have broken the transfer. Oh, so, guys, I thought Arsenal broke a transfer record for a player, but it's the women. So the women can break a world transfer record, but the men can't. Disgraceful. Disgraceful. Olivia Smith, the first 1 million sign in women's football. Mad. That's mad. That's mad. Let's see if Arsenal follow suit. I doubt it, but who knows? Big up to Daniela Iacona as well. Yeah, big up to Veronica. Big up to Carla Alvarado as well. Do you know what? Do you know what? Big up to Carla. Do you know how funny this comment is? Yeah. So I mean, I work in a school, guys. Yeah, and Carla, you're the fifth person, or the, no, sorry, you're the sixth person that has said that to me today. Ashton Hall. I mean, I can't see it personally, but you're the sixth person that has said that to me today. That I look like that Ashton Hall. That's mad. That is mad. As I say, I've been working in a school, a school that I'm quite new to, and a lot of the kids are saying to me, "You look like Ashton Hall," and I'm saying no. And it's mad how you come out of that, man. You're the sixth person that said that. But big up anyway. Bro, we all know PSG is going to win the Club World Cup. I saw who's going to win the game. Real Madrid versus PSG is going to win the whole thing. Yeah, listen. PSG for me all day long. I'm going to say PSG. No doubt. Big up to Alex Petrosian as well. Do you think Newcastle can finish above Arsenal next season? Maybe it's better to answer before the season starts once all signings are done. Again, a lot of it's going to be dependent on signings. I look at the signing of Elanga. Do I think Elanga troubles... I think Elanga suits what Newcastle are trying to do. But is Elanga a statement signing? For me, he's not. Arsenal, again, they've lost Partey but got Zubimendi. Does that take them on? I don't think it does, really. I think, as I said, Zubimendi's a good footballer, but I don't think he... I mean, the physicality might be telling. Madueke, does he take them on? Definitely not for me. So I think at this moment in time, I would say... I'd say there's nothing in Arsenal and Newcastle. I know they finished above them last season, but for me, that was more Newcastle not capitalising when they played against them in some of the chances they had. But I think no team really has made any statement signings. And again, there's still a long way to go in the transfer window. So whether they do that or not, I think we'll have a better judgment if that happens. So big up to FUT Elite says, dude, I have a question. Yeah, big up, man. What's your question? Let me see if I can find it in the chat. Scalvini gonna cost 52 million. Yeah, listen, I expected something like that anyway, gamer. So FUT Elite says, if Endrick goes on loan, Gonzalo... Oh, sorry, do you know what? Guys, how can I forget? Endrick didn't even get no game time, but Gonzalo Garcia did. Again, not looking good for Endrick. If Endrick goes on loan, Gonzalo Garcia is in his prime in Club World Cup. But when Gonzalo finishes prime, some clubs will buy Endrick. They will redo. Big up to FUT Elite. I'm not quite understanding the comment. But I think what you're trying to say is that if Endrick goes on loan, will some clubs be able to buy him back? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, I think Endrick's only, 18? So I think a loan deal is what's best for Endrick. I think if Endrick stays at Madrid, it's going to be another wasted season, and a loan or even a permanent, because football's a short career. I mean, he's only 18 now. By the time he knows it, he'll probably be in his 20s, and not really had regular football. So these are the kind of things that they have to think about, But big up, man, FUT Elite. Veronica said, it sucks because Rodrygo is my favourite player from Real Madrid and they don't let him play. Again, a lot of it is down to, Veronica, a lot of it is down to the status that the other two have in preference to Rodrygo. That's all it is. They've got a bigger profile than Rodrygo, so they're getting shoehorned into the team. And unfortunately, Rodrygo's the casualty for that. FUT Elite says Rodrygo's going to go Man City. Yeah, I think we've already touched on that, so I think he should. Right, Right, guys, I'm just going to skim through the chat, so I need to get going now. But big up. Right, last couple of questions, guys, before I wrap. So big up to Nick Gurr. Nick Gurr says, which team do you think can stop this PSG super team? For me, I'm going to say Barcelona. And I'd probably say, I mean, I'm gonna say Barca and Man City probably. Barca and Man City. You know, 'cause I think they're two teams that can probably play PSG at their own game. But again, PSG have got mad physicality. So yeah, but they're gonna take some stopping, definitely. But yeah, as I said, I think I think Barca and Man City. But who knows? There could be other teams that might be into that equation. But they're gonna take some stopping, definitely. But guys, listen up. Apologies for not getting to everyone's questions. As I said, I tried to go through as much as I could, but obviously I've got to shoot out. But listen, we got 15 likes in there. You know, we had about 40 of you watching live. If you haven't smashed that like button, guys, obviously it'd be really appreciated if you can. Obviously help the channel to grow. Again, if you're enjoying the content, make sure you check out my other content as well. And let me know what you think. Obviously, check out my playlist, guys, as well. You know, I've got some good playlists on there, some good content on there about various different things. Obviously, I'm doing my Next Gen 50, which is the best 50 young players in world football as well. So give that a check. And again, guys, let me know in the comments after the stream's ended. And let me know, obviously, on my other streams as well. Let me know what you think. You know what I mean? So, obviously, it's free content, you know. And obviously just trying to grow the channel. So yeah, if you guys do like the content, again, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and make sure you smash that like button. I should be back, guys, possibly tomorrow, same time. I'm not sure yet. I'm not going to guarantee that I'll be back because I might be a bit busy tomorrow. But again, keep an eye out for the schedule. You know, if I'm not back tomorrow, then possibly Saturday. But as I said, keep an eye on the schedule. And again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you do. And again, make sure you you smash that like button, help the channel to grow. So yeah, guys, as I said to you, big up yourselves each and every time. Big up to all the mods for coming in. Big up to all the newcomers as well. And giving me all your questions. And yeah, guys, I'm gonna catch you guys in a bit. Let me know as well after the stream's ended, in the comments section, what you think about the certain players. Again, I'm here for the dialogue, guys. I'm here for the differences of opinion. You know, you might think that I've got it wrong on a few players, but let me know. So, as I said, let me know what you think about PSG. Do you think they're primed to dominate? Let me know what you think about Rodrygo. Is it definite that he goes, especially after Xabi Alonso's comments after the game? Let me know about the conundrum between Bellingham, Mbappe, Vinicius Jr. Is that a three that definitely doesn't work? And again, let me know about the imbalance of Real Madrid. Is that going to cause a major issue going forwards for Xabi Alonso? So, yeah, guys, big up yourselves. Smash the like button, subscribe to my channel, and I'm going to catch you guys in a bit. Take it easy.